My name is Margaret Ann Windsor. Um, I keep saying that because if someone views this and they have no background, they don't know where I'm coming from. I was kidnapped in 41 from Buckingham Palace and brought to the United States to Moulton, Alabama, and placed on what amounts to be a pigsty. I was given the name of a twin, Peggy Ann Dempsey, and I married a Childers. And the twins were both dead, Peggy and Carl. And I grew up being told that that was my name and that this woman, Lina Dempsey, was my mother and that that was my family. They were horrible people. She killed the twins, and I'll leave that there. I was placed near Huntsville, Alabama, which is about 40 miles from Moulton or 45, and that has something to do with this. I was kidnapped. I'm a hostage. I still am. So they were getting all they could get out of me, and when I was thrown out to Larry Flint's during a political campaign, I'd written about mind control in 77, 78, and the doctor, congressman I wrote about, his plane was shot down by a Soviet MiG when it veered out of into Soviet airspace. It was the KAL-007, and all the people aboard died. Now, I had written about him in 77. It was a medical malpractice manuscript, MD, A License to Kill. I was living at Moonraker, and Larry Flint, and I'm going to show this picture in a bit, had been shot there on May the 6th of 78, and the man that programmed him was programmed to shoot him. So Larry Flint, in this editorial, I was thrown out there for to get political help during the Larry McDonald campaign to replace him. Now, do you find it odd that 77, 78, I'm writing a medical malpractice book, and this is just one out of the list that was killed. Now, he's not the good guy. I wrote about him. I got a letter from the U.S. Attorney June the 23rd of 79, and then I'm going to put this in because it has to do with it. Joan, the lady who played Ark of Joan, um, oh man, now I'm going to forget her name. Seberg, Jean Seberg, Seberg. She was murdered, and it tells in there she was defamed, everything done to her. And it was made to appear as suicide, November of 79. And it tells in there that COINTELPRO, which is, well, you can look it up if you care, and you should, because you're not immune to it. No one is. April Fool's Day of 80, I was filled with antifreeze and should have died. Now, that was a hell on wheels and a fiasco what was done to me. People seem to have to see visual because mind control is invisible. I hope that they do, the world has to see what was done to me throughout my life, the psychological and chemical warfare. But I wrote about mind control and murders that had happened prior to 77, 78. But now, these have happened since, and there's been so many, just stop and think of the years that have gone by, and they were done in patterns, and they can be proven. But when I came to Roanoke, I'm going to skip and come to Roanoke in October of 86. My jobs were totally shut down. No one would help me. They're afraid of it, or they accepted lies. And I'm going to tell what an FBI agent in Grottoes, Virginia, told me. He told me, he said this in front of where I was working, and he was supposed to have retired up there. And I found out later that I had a picture of him years ago with my ex-husband at Brown Engineering back in, I guess it must have been 61. This is the same man, and he's up here in Grottoes now when I'm there in 84 and spring of 85. And he says to me, he says, you know, they made it so ludicrous that people knew you were telling the truth, but it gave them a chance to help you or walk away. And they walked. But it involved, and I've not said a lot about over the years too much. I've turned it over to law enforcement, which already knew it. They're part of it, though. It's the agency that's doing the mind control. Um, so I didn't. I've told about the kids because in mind control, you can um, tell, as in the Tucson or the James Holmes up in Aurora, Colorado. These are mass murders, but you can program a person to commit suicide, fall down the steps, a pair of natural cause, or they can create um, illness and they can cure them since the early Tesla files were stolen. But the children, you can program someone to kidnap children, and they did it in patterns, and that's exactly what happened over the years. I'm not going to list them now. This is part when I came here. It wasn't that people doubted what I was saying; they knew it was true. It's one thing to send a child over to another country to fight a war, uh, and they die and come back, and you can say they're a hero. But given the choice here, if people had the choice between helping me, or they thought there was a chance their child could get killed or kidnapped, is what I'm focusing on here, then they chose to go against me with the bureau that's doing this. All right. And I'm going to say this, there's a chance February the 3rd of this coming year, this might be told because of a gag order placed on something, and it's totally in the patterns. I pray it's told, and my father's name is cleared, and mine and my children in my country, Great Britain. Now I'm going to go back to they they focused on. I have been force fed chemicals in every way, and I've tried to tell that in past videos. Uh, what I'm going to say here is that my jobs were shut down. And when I went to the Appalachian Trail to live and freeze and starve, nobody would help me. They did what they were told to do, and nobody asked the question, hey, we're being told to do this, and we're trying to pretend that it's good for her, which is crazy in itself. Did they ever stop to think, hey, she's 75 years old, she can't move hardly, when does this stop? What's the real point to it? But they already knew, and they didn't want to admit it. Now then, I'm going to say that they've controlled where I live, and it's been gassed. Um, I've had maintenance, or where I had housekeeping that makes it look good. Gee, she's got housekeeping. They would come in and soak my linen. I was constantly using what bucks I had to do the linen, and lock the doors, and they just unlock them, and that's trespassing. It's joining into a conspiracy. It's assault. You've got all kinds of. I've even got proof here, and it does no good. I finally found one attorney who worked for legal aid. No one else will touch it because, quote, they want to live. He only Xeroxed it and took it, and then that became a lie. When I called back later, left messages on the answering machine or voicemail. I called back a few months ago, and what they told me was that this attorney's gone and that they have no record of me calling back, that he just simply lost touch. So there's a cover story in all of it that sounds logical unless it's told. And then you can't dispute it because it's over my life. It fits into certain grooves that you can't dispute. So I'm going to say this. I keep saying that I'm going to say this because I'm going from memory and I'm in so much pain from the chemicals causing. I'm allergic to chemicals, and it causes my immune system to attack itself. And over the years, it's so horrible. It's like a nightmare.